At This Place in History, we're in Peacham with Steve Perkins, the Executive Director of the Vermont Historical Society. And Steve, the beauty of this church is what brings us here this week.
It does indeed, Mike. So people say, we've heard that this is the most photographed church in our country. But pretty amazing. So up here in Peacham, so we're going to get to the bottom of that, and we're going to talk about the history of this church and what makes it so special with Steve Gallinet, who's the president of the Peacham Historical Association.
First of all, Steve, as great a location as this is for the Peacham Congregational Church, I understand it wasn't always here. Why don't we start by talking about that?
The original church was on the second floor of the first floor of the academy. And then they finally built it, the church, up by the cemetery, and was up right at the top of the hill. By 1850s, they had decided to move the church down. They rolled it down and turned it around. It used to face the other direction, added the tower, and put the steeple on the top. There's a pipe organ in it that was donated by a parishioner who was not on good terms with the church for a long time, and when he made his penance, he decided to give us the pipe organ and paid for it to install, and it's gorgeous. The SD church organ is from Brattleboro.
When Vermont was founded as a state, we really were founded around town government, more so than county or state government. And each town had a municipal building, which was often the church. And it was one building. And it's my understanding this building served that function from its very beginning, but it still does today. I think that's fascinating.
The church has always been a big part of the community, and it's called by those that don't attend here just the old meeting house. And any community function that goes on that needs a large room, it's always the church that they do it. And they make the upstairs non-religious looking, and there was a red shoebox that somebody found in our archives, actually, and nobody knew what it was. We opened it up, and it's filled with papers from the beginning times of this church. And it showed how there were disputes that were settled in town by the church. And if the church decided that you were wrong, you may have been kicked out of town. They now have a daycare center that's in the basement. And they just opened up 2 years ago. In severe emergencies, that is also supposed to be our community relief center. There's a preservation fund that is to keep the building here, and it's non-religious. As you said, it's the most photographed church. And up on the top of the hill, people always take the picture of it. You catch the steeple and the edge of the village, and it makes you feel like you want a fire and a glass of wine.
Any indication, Steve, of any general time frame when it might have struck people as being particularly photogenic?
I was born in the early 50s, and it was on the cover of Vermont Life then.
Vermont Life, established as a tourism arm of the state of Vermont, did its job, took a picture of the church, and then everyone's got to come to Peacham and take a picture.
The other thing that I might mention is that during the summer, they do have sometimes programs that are open that you can check either with our website, peachamhistorical.org, or the church's website, and find out when they're open, but they give a history of the church.
A church that ought to be in pictures at This Place in History.
Local news that matters.